and they won't talk about it. They won't speak up on it because they're a cop too, and it's going to make their department look bad, of course. But just get that guy out of there, and guess what? The department don't look bad anymore. We can do it like that. Let's weed them out, like Terry was saying in his earlier videos. Let's weed out the bad ones.
Well,
What
let me
happened to
say
all?
this.
Like,
I want to say this real
what do
fast.
we do?
Do you know who arrested Swall Jerry?
I do. The
I do
Ironton.
not.
The Ironton Police
I
Department.
know it was. I know it was Iron. Okay, I
Okay.
thought you meant like
Do you know who
one
arrested
person.
or who filed charges on Beth Wrist?
I do not.
The Ironton Police Department.
All right.
We do what we can to do the best that we can. Are we human? Absolutely. Is there mistakes? Absolutely. Is there people that are learning that come in and do certain things that may not be right? Absolutely.
What do you think of the city of Ironton when just taking a look around? What do you think about it?
Well, I love the people.
Yeah,
I
people
care.
are nice.
I like the people. I don't like the people who are hateful. But they think that I'm hateful because I don't want the status quo of this bullshit authoritarian Nazi police force. You want to be on camera?
I don't know that guy.
Give me 1 second. Are you on camera? Are you?
If I can talk directly to Officer Good, tell him, if he wants to take that challenge he had.
Oh, did he hurt you?
When I was handcuffed in the police car.
Is that right?
I would love to do. I would love to.
What happened to you? Do you want to be on camera? Oh, you want to be on camera?
It don't matter because.
So what's your name? Here, come stand up. Come,
Everybody knows me here.
come turn around right here. So what's your name, brother?
John Long.
John Long?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell me start from the beginning. What happened to you?
Well, first of all, it's been a few years back, and Goo knows this.
Goo's a big pussy. He was a big fat guy who did a bunch of steroids. He's super strong now. He doesn't know how to fight. He's a pussy.
All right. And you were in the. He knows he was in the wrong.
Oh, he does?
Oh yeah, he knows he was in the wrong.
So start from the beginning. Did you get pulled over?
No, what happened was I called him.
You called the cops. Yet another story. When you call the cops.
right.
Okay, go ahead.
I called you, but what happens is you end up tasing me, rolling me in the ground.
So
right?
but do me a favor. People don't know you. I don't know you. Start from the beginning.
They know me
So
here in Ironton.
but I want there's thousands are gonna watch this. So
All right.
explain to me what happens. You call the cops for what?
Because we had a tenant next door. We owned some property next door, and the tenant was threatening my wife.
Oh, okay. So you own the property. Tenant's threatening your wife. So you call the cops.
I called the cops.
Because the tenant had said what? He's gonna hurt her, beat her, smack her.
He said he was going to either smack me first, and then come over and smack her, or smack her first and then smack me.
But just so you know,
Anyway, he was threatening.
I am
my
physically a
wife
pretty big guy, and he is bigger than me. So I'm physically bigger than most people, and he's my size. So instead of whooping his ass, you call the cops.
I called the cops, okay? And I told the kid, come on down. He was like 17, threatening my wife and stuff, act like he had a gun in the window and stuff. So I tell the guy to come down. And I said, just come on down here and take care of your business, whatever. So I called but I happened to walk out into it.
Okay.
I wasn't there physically. I just walked out and saw my wife arguing with the guy, and he was threatening her and threatening to slap her. And
So you
slap
call
me.
the cops, and they come.
So I called the cops, and they come.
Who comes? Just Goo by himself?
No, Goo and a couple other officers.
It doesn't matter, but Goo's the one who hurts you.
Yeah, as far as I know. According
So
to my
is
daughter, they said they were all three of them were wrestling with me.
And no cameras outside your house, no video.
I keep them now, but
You
at
keep
the
them now,
point
but there was no video. So the point is you got hammered because there was no transparency.
There was no.
So go from the beginning though. So the cops pull up. You guys. So then what happens? The cops pull up. What's the first thing that happens?
Okay, first thing that happens is they get the young guy downstairs, pulls him downstairs, and he's over talking to the officer, and I just go over there and tell to get back up what he was saying, back
Because you're
up.
pissed off too because he's talking shit to your wife.
Right.
Okay.
So I said, once you back up what you were saying, and I think there a couple other, I don't know if the other officers came at that point or not because it's been a while back, but I just said, back up what you're saying now, and Goo's like, get over in your yard, which that was my yard. I was
You're on your own property?
on my own property
Okay.
anyway. So, uh, so I go back, and I stand on my.
You
porch.
step back like he asked you to do?
I get on my porch, and so they're over there laughing.
Who's laughing?
The kid and the officers over there laughing and joking. So actually that's when I go back. I go over there and I'm upset, and I'm like, well, now let's, since there's witnesses around, let's
have it out. You want to fight me? You want to fight my wife? Let's do it.
Right.
Okay.
So then next thing I know, Officer Gue is trying to attack me.
Wait, he comes at you?
Yeah.
Because you walk over like, hey, F you. You want
No,
to
I didn't
fight?
cuss. I didn't
no
cuss.
cursing. No cursing.
I don't do that.
Okay.
I can handle my own.
Oh,
without
I
all
curse.
that.
I curse.
I know
I'm
you
trying
do.
not to, but I curse.
But anyway.
Come over here. I want to see the light on your face so people can understand that you're a human being that shouldn't have been shot with electricity. So what happens next? Gue comes up to you and says, back off.
Well, no. Well, I don't know how that. I don't know what happened between the point, because I don't know if they had tased me and knocked me down or whatever.
Oh, you see, it's not real clear?
All I know is I was on the ground with Gue.
So wait a minute. You walk up, Gue approaches you, and does he immediately tase you?
Well, he grabs me and I tighten up like this.
Right, because you.
And he got a little upset, I guess, because he couldn't take me down or something. And then next thing I know, I'm on the ground with him, and I grab his hand, and the taser, the stun gun or whatever he's got is going zzz, zzz. And I said, "You're not tasing me on my neck." I said, "I'll comply with you." But
Right, but it's too late. He has to hurt you.
Well, he was trying to. So
Right.
And according to my daughters and stuff, which were witnessing this, said they had already tased me a few times or something.
Really?
Which I wasn't aware of that. I just know at the time I had his hand and told him he's not tasing me on my neck because,
Could kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got high blood pressure. But anyway, I told him that. And then I said, "I'll comply with you. He's telling me put my head down." I said, "I'll put my head down, but you're not going to tase me." And then at some point, they put me in the car.
Well, they
and-
put you in torture cuffs first, though, right?
Yeah, I was in the car.
How'd those cuffs feel?
Well, when you're claustrophobic and you're sitting in the back of the car, and they, he slams the door on my legs. He slams the car door on my legs and tells me get back in the car. And they, he slams the door on my legs. He slams the car door on my legs. He slams the door on my legs. He slams the car door on my legs and tells me get back in the car. Getting back to the point, I'm in the car. He's taking me to the police station, and he says, "Don't ever think you can beat me." He already knew I was a black belt. Everybody in Ireton knew I was a black belt because I'd been in the newspaper a couple of times for doing good things. I'm in the car. He's taking me to the police station, and he says, "Don't ever think you can beat me. Don't ever think you can beat me." He already knew I was a black belt. Everybody in Ireton knew I was a black belt because I'd been in the newspaper a couple of times for doing good things. I was in there for Kentucky Colonel one time, and I was in there for a little karate school I had with about 50 students and stuff.
Okay.
Then he's like, "Well, when you're in Rome, you do as the Romans do."
As you're in the car, he's
Yes.
he's cops
And
planning to you.
I told him, I said, "Man, look, I'm a man of God." He says, "Well, I'm a preacher." He says,
I'm a preacher.
Yeah, he said he was.
Stand on this side real quick. Switch sides with me.
He said he was a
My
preacher.
my arm's just getting tired.
He says he's a preacher.
I'm a preacher.
Yeah, he said he was.
Stand on this side real quick. Switch sides with me.
He said he was a
My
preacher.
arm's just getting tired.
He says he's a preacher, and he can go head to head with you.
What?
Yeah, I can go head to head with you as far as
Just take a side note here. Hey,
there. And I listened to you and listened to him. I listened to him.
cops
just
explain to you.
Explain to him how he could whip me, and I could never whip him. So at the time, and I respect. It's like I'm not going to sit and argue with you within handcuffs or nothing.
Right, but he's telling you you can whoop your ass. Is what he's saying.
And I'm 63.
But he's telling you, Gue's telling you, as you're in cuffs, that don't think you could hang with him. He could whoop your ass.
Right. I respect. It's like I'm not going to sit and argue with you within handcuffs or nothing.
Right, but he's telling you you can whoop your ass. Is what he's saying.
And I'm 63. He knew my status, and I guess he wouldn't be the first one to say, "Yeah, I was the one who."
No, he shot you with a taser, dude.
Exactly. They're waiting to get bailed out for my wife to bail me out. And they had left the guy that was threatening my wife still there with her. So she had to call the cops again because they left him there.
No.
And they had left the guy that was threatening my wife still there with her. So she had to call the cops again because they had left the guy that was threatening my wife still there with her. So she had to call the cops again because they left him there.
No way.
And they were,
No
he was
way.
still fussing with her.
No way.
Yes.
So John Long, right?
Yes, sir.
He calls the cops because the guy's threatening his wife with physical violence. He can whoop his ass because he's a black belt, but he doesn't do that. He calls the cops. Gue comes, tases him. Then they talk shit to him, tell him he can whoop his ass, even though he's been written up in the paper that he's a legit badass. And then they take him to the dungeon, and they don't take the guy who he called about and separate him from the woman, and she's left alone, so she's got to call the cops again.
Yes. That's what I. That's
And then
what
which
she
cops?
told me.
Then which cops go out there this time?
Well, I don't know what his status is now, what his integrity is now.
He's a pig.
But at the point at that, I think he needs to apologize to me.
So you would take an apology. You don't want to physically fight him. You just want him to say.
I would take a apology from him if he just come up to me as a man and just say, "Look, I was in the wrong. I'm sorry."
Oh, you want him to
I
admit?
mean, I ain't worried about anybody wanting to fight. That's, you know.
So all you want, though, I can't stand this guy because he said he's a constitutionalist like me, and then I got 10 stories about him saying what a piece of shit he is. All right, John. Thanks, man.
All right, man.
Thanks I appreciate it, man.
You can read it in the book. We've had cameras back in 2008, and they should have Chad Gue slamming a man's head up against the wall when he was handcuffed. Chad Gue slamming a man's head up against the wall when he was handcuffed. Chad Gue slamming a man's head up against the wall when he was handcuffed.
Yeah.